my guest this morning, Major Mohammed Ali Shah. So thank you for speaking to NewsX, and we appreciate you giving us your time at this point of time. It is in fact a grim and a worrying news at this point, which has happened in the early hours of this morning, is only going to be escalating further now, in fact signaling of a potential escalation that can be proven as a bigger worry for Iran, as more airspaces have been shut and there are in fact explosions and blasts that are heard at the particular target points of the US air defense system, which at the Iran's air defense system. What exactly, in your opinion, is the end game of Israel, which has now confirmed that these are the retaliation precision attacks that they have carried out against Iran?
Right. After Israel, they had killed the senior leader of Hezbollah, an Iranian ally Lebanon. Iran responded by targeting what it claimed were Israeli military sites. Now, Hezbollah militants, they allied with Iran, entered the conflict alongside Hamas, that the Gaza-based group and backed by Iran. Now, there was also since 7th October last year, when there was a dastardly attack by Hamas on Israel's soil, and this tension has been going on. Now, on 1st of October, when Iran launched an attack in Israel, they had fired about 180, close to 180 ballistic missiles. Most of them were intercepted by the help of the Americans or the Iron Dome system. Israel said, we will respond back in our own suitable way. We will choose our time, our place, our method, our tactics. Everything would be our choice. And अपने तौर तरीके से हम इसकी जवाबी कार्रवाई करेंगे. Now, I think 16th October was a date which was planned by Israel to attack Iran. But they had informed America, and America has got elections 5th November. So in order that should not get affected, they don't want firing right now. They want peace at the moment in this area, because it's going to inadvertently and adversely affect the US elections. And now the information got leaked. So the whole element of an attack is the element of surprise has to be there. So the element of surprise was lost. This morning when we all woke up, Israel has attacked Iran. Okay, this is what has happened. Over 100 fighter aircraft, F-35s, F-16, they had bombarded. We saw on the IRGC building getting collapsed, getting affected. But Iran said, no, life in Tehran was unaffected, unmoved. Life is just going on as usual. Nothing has happened. But, I feel even one fighter aircraft can cause immense damage. Imagine over 100 fighter aircraft, F-16s and F-35s going over you and causing heavy bombardment. It is really, really tricky. I was speaking to certain analysts and strategists. They were saying that Israel will attack Iran, but it may not be through fighter jets or through missiles or through, it could be through technology. Israel has the capability of doing a complete blackout in Iran, which means now if an Israeli aircraft flies over Iran, airspace, Iran would not be able to make out that because there is a complete blackout. Everything else, all the servers have been hacked. So far, we used to understand by a cyber attack, which means your server would be down, your password would be hacked. But on 17th September, when there was a cyber attack on the Hezbollah walkie-talkies, pagers, and there were explosions through cyber attack, the world woke up to a new thing called a cyber attack can be this lethal as well, can be this deadly as well. So the world was expecting probably Israel would do a cyber attack through technology. But they have sent over 100 aircraft. I feel Iran is not going to keep quiet about this also. That's a different story, that Iran may not have the capability, but Iran has stepped up. They've increased their defense budget. They're focusing on the defense so that they can make more power, more equipment to actually retaliate to Israel. So far, the war was between the state actors, Israel, and the non-state actors, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthi to some extent. So it is really now when Iran gets into the fray, because 1st October, the attack was by Iran. Now when it becomes between two state actors, it's actually a very, very dangerous precedence. Israel attacked Syria, certain parts of Syria as well, where Syria and Saudi Arabia were two nations about 2 odd months back. They had said if Iran decides to attack Israel, our airspace would not be used to attack Israel, which means indirectly they were trying to help Israel only, indirectly. Israel has attacked Syria. There was also an attack on Syria in April, May, around that time when certain IRGC guards were killed. And that's the time Iran had retaliated. They had fired 130 missiles into Iran, into Israel. And most of them were intercepted at that time. It fell in the Central Economic Zone where there was no casualty. It was a symbolic attack. This time the attack is from both sides. It's extremely deadly. So I see even nations who are sitting far away from the war zone, who feel they are not affected, when they woke up to the news this morning that Israel has attacked Iran, which is a dangerous move, and Iran further reacting to it would be even more dangerous. So the nations which are sitting far apart would also be affected by it, unfortunately. Ji.
Okay. We have shown how these bases, which were serving as the potential launchpad for the missile attacks and which have also done in the past, have been at the forefront of the plan of the precision airstrikes. Now, in fact, as per the latest that we're tracking, 100 Israeli fighters have also participated in this entire planned attack on Iran. What exactly can be understood, going further? Because can we expect a ground offensive following these air raids, or is it too late for a de-escalation?
Okay, when you mentioned about the 100 fighters, I would like to tell our viewers that the 100 fighter jets which were referred to. Now, when the 100 fighter jets are involved and it's going to be extremely deadly, so far it was only air attacks. Now, as you mentioned about the ground attacks, now if you see geographically, where does Iran and Israel, they meet a common border? It's very, very difficult. So now for Israel, the ground raid is not impossible. Yes, as you suggested, it can be possible, but it's going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to be extremely so. Israel, what are the options that Israel had? They had airstrike, which was happening. They had cyber attack they could have done through technology, which they are extremely good in technology. Now, when Iranian media, including the Fars news agency, they reported that Israeli strikes had targeted several military bases near Tehran. But Irani sources minimized the impact, stating that life in Tehran, continued uninterrupted. The Tasneem news agency, they also claim that the bases of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that IRGC, they suffered no damages. Now, state broadcast footage of passengers arriving at Tehran's main airport. So now, whenever there's war, there's a lot of information warfare that's going across. We do not know what to believe, what not to believe, because we will believe what we are seeing. So when Israel has attacked Iran, Iran says there's hardly any damage. Now, Israel also conducted airstrikes on military sites in central and southern Syria. Now, according to the Syrian news agency SANA, Syrian air defense interrupted some missiles launched from the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and Lebanon. Now, Israel has not confirmed these attacks in the report. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. In fact, Yoav Gallant had gone to an air base sometime back in Israel, and he mentioned that an attack by Israel would only be a saving grace for them, and also it would show their strength not only to Israel but also to the world. So I think Israel has proved that, now Iran had made it very, very clear on 1st October itself that this was just a trailer. This was just a small showpiece in case Israel intends to retaliate. And if Israel retaliates, they will show the full film, that they will do a major attack then. So let's see if Iran lives up to that, because Iran so far has been thundering. And those who thunder will seldom give any rains. Thundering clouds seldom give any rains. So, जो गरजते हैं वो बरसते नहीं, जो बरसते हैं वो गरजते नहीं. Now, when they had Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, and Yoav Gallant, the Defense Minister, when they get closely monitored the operation from Israel's military command center. Now, Israel had informed the United States in advance, though the US did not participate in these strikes. The US also was not in favor of Israel striking the oil refineries or the nuclear power plant because that would escalate it further. Now, the White House National Security spokesperson, Seen Savit, he had stated that the strikes were acts of self-defense in response to an Iranian ballistic missile attack on October 1st. Now, this America and Israel are friends, they are allies. So America will always side by Israel. I'll give you a small example. When Russia-Ukraine war was going on, International Court of Justice, which is a UN body from the West, influenced by West, had declared President Putin as a war criminal. They had even issued an arrest warrant against him because of the mass graves that were found in Ukraine. Now, over 42,800 something civilians have died in Gaza ever since this war broke out from 7th of October. But so far, Netanyahu has not been declared a war criminal and there has been no restriction upon him because of the American influence. So the US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, he cautioned Israel against further escalation, while Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant warned that any attacks again back on them, it would lead to devastating effect. It would be a very, very deadly response from their end. So basically, if I have to conclude, I would say, आग दोनों तरफ लगी हुई है, कोई कम नहीं है, and both is going to be very, very deadly.
Major Mohammed Ali Shah, what we are also hearing as per the updates that we are tracking live is that, how do you view this United States coming clear and washing their hands, saying they have no role as per these precise attacks? And you have also said that how United States is in fact behind all of this planning and the launchpad of these air raids, but at the same time, given round the corner there are US presidential elections, and at this given point these statements are made. Do you think these are made strategically at this point to evade any kind of a consequence, or is it not in the interest of the US to have said and made these statements, which are of course of high concern?
Right. It's a very, very good question. See, it is an interest to the US because of they are having the elections, and US should have intervened much earlier, and not just intervened, but ensured that this war stops. They couldn't do it. They were not successful in doing it, and now they're going to be buying the brunt of it as well, because America is washing their hands off, saying that, okay, we were informed all right about the military targets, but not of the oil refinery and the nuclear power plant, which they honored, which Iran honored, which Israel honored. Israel had attacked parts of military centers in the province of Tehran, Khuzestan, and Ilam. These were where the military bases were situated, especially in Khuzestan and Ilam. And when America washes their hands off, and Kamala Harris will get a few less votes, because she will anger people. And when you anger people, of course, as politicians. Now, what happens when elections take place, or what happens when there's a war? Okay, let me give you a scenario of a war. When a war takes place, as a soldier I'm talking about, at the end of the war, every soldier is willing to die for the motherland, to kill and get killed. There's no problem in that. But at the end of the war, what happens? A mother waits for her son. A father waits for his son. A brother waits for his brother. A sister waits for her brother. A friend waits for his friend. It is the politicians, the law, they shake hands and come together. So who bear the brunt? The common man. A common soldier suffers. So as a soldier today, I am a soldier for peace. And I say, whenever there is a war between any nation, anywhere, it's not good. Our Prime Minister at the beginning of Russia-Ukraine war also, he had given a statement. He had told Russia and Ukraine both to end this war, because no one is going to be coming out victorious out of it. Both the parties are going to be losers. No one's going to win from it. So similarly, in a war-like situation like this, it's going to be, so far it's been between state actors and non-state actors. State actors, Israel, and non-state actors, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi. So it's going to be very, very dangerous, and there's a very, very dangerous game being meted out in the Gulf at the moment.
As you have in fact pointed out, that it is in fact going forward a dangerous game that we are staring, coming into reality.